All right, we're going to go into some controversies today. So, over the weekend, we had a couple little incidents that happened, at least that I can remember. One of which being the Kovacic handball versus Chelsea. I don't know if you guys have seen
That
it.
was
was
the
like 2
previous
weeks ago.
weekend.
That was 2 weeks
That
ago.
wasn't this weekend. It was the previous weekend.
Oh,
That was the
man.
first week.
Yeah,
But it's fine. I
Sorry
mean,
about
point
that.
is,
Yeah,
point
you're
is
right, you're right.
handballs in general.
Just to get it
like,
Handball in
across.
general.
Yeah.
I actually have another one then on top of that.
Yeah.
But that handball rule, so what we were discussing before was like, how is this handball changed? Like, are we changing the handball rule, or is this more of like a leniency thing?
Well, what is Premier League without controversy?
Like always, like always. So what are we thinking? Did you guys ever did you see the incident that happened or no?
The Kovacic one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone saw it here, right?
Yeah.
All right. So
I personally don't think it was one.
okay.
Like I think
Like,
the
just on, like, a
leniency
player
makes
side?
sense. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like as a defender, if you're running to close someone down, like his arm was like kind of high,
Yeah.
but like it was so close that he just blasted it at his arm. Like obviously you don't know if it's gonna land on someone's head, but it didn't really seem like a dangerous ball necessarily. But I don't know. Like that's
Yeah,
just
I-
me. Like
I
as a
just- yeah,
defender,
like-
it's like, oh, what am I supposed to
He's
do? Like,
also
how do
in
I
the air.
react that
Kovacic
fast?
is in the air. Like
Yeah.
No,
Kovacic.
he wasn't.
No,
He
he wasn't
wasn't.
No,
in the air.
well,
He was
he
running.
was
He's
sprinting,
looked-
but,
he's
like,
definitely
was
getting,
running.
He was getting ready to step. But
Yeah,
like,
but like my
He was like
That's
keeping his
point,
balance.
my
to
point is
step.
like he's like stepping, but it's like his back foot is almost off the ground. Like he's just at this
Yeah.
point he's just like up, like trying to get like out of the way of it, or at least his hands out of the way. I think if a defender is if an attacker is blasting a ball into a defender's
Yeah.
hand, I think that's just unfair. I think there's a level of like unfairness.
It is a
that goes into
judgment call, which
Yeah,
makes it
obviously.
controversial.
Yeah.
The problem I have with it is the referees now have the ability to make a so-called judgment call when there shouldn't really, like, when you're officiating a game, there shouldn't be anything that is up to judgment. The whole point of VAR is to make, like, calls by the book, I
Yeah.
guess. It's like it's either it's a black and white question of whether it is a call or it's not a call.
it's like, is this a handball or
And-
not, and why?
yeah,
That's literally,
like
how
I
it
think the
should be.
Kovacic situation is like kind of like in its own because like okay he's clearing the ball backwards almost.
Mhm.
It doesn't really affect play, but like say
But
it's
that has nothing to do with
but
the penalty
say
call, though.
say it's going forward though, and like say like instead of going out for a corner it hits his hand.
Yeah.
Instead of hitting this body part and go out for a corner it hits his hand and goes like for like the keeper grabs it. Ederson
Yeah.
grabs it. Like it affects the play still, and it's up to the ref to make a judgment of whether like well did it affect the play, did it not, is it a handball, is it not, and it's kind of like I don't like when did we decide that the refs should judge what a handball is and what a handball
I'm just
isn't?
so annoyed that they don't go to the monitor. Like even I came around to the suggestion that it was a handball. I mean, it wasn't. I'm sorry, it wasn't a handball because we're talking about proximity. Especially me, these guys know I love that word proximity. I used to throw that around like crazy,
It's
and
annoying.
it was a little close. But I've seen this called last year, and that was the issue that this got called last year. So like I'm in this mindset like, oh, this is easily a handball. Hands up. It's not. It's a natural position because he's stepping, but your hand was still above shoulder level. Even though it didn't hit your hand, it hit your arm around this area. This is not where your hand should be in the first place. But I kind of understood that it was still like within a yard or two like difference, and I'm like, I mean, this gets called sometimes, but I'm hoping that with consistency of the handball rule in general, that this is something that's consistent. I want to make sure if this gets called in this Chelsea game, I want it to be called everywhere.
But that's the thing. I mean,
that's just not
we
gonna
saw
happen.
it this weekend too because Bournemouth got a goal taken away for
Yeah.
the same thing, and then today, well, West Ham's playing Bournemouth. West Ham get a goal very similarly, except
Carabao
only
Cup?
difference-
Was that today?
yeah. But
Okay.
the only difference is Kudus takes a shot.
Okay.
And the shot gets deflected. I mean, the shot runs into Bowen on the way in.
Yeah.
Bowen has his arm like this.
Against his
And
body.
It's like out a tiny bit, but like
Okay.
the point is it's like in front of his silhouette.
Yeah.
But it hits his hand and then goes into the net. And I'm like, so they give that goal. They take a goal away from
They
Bournemouth.
counted that?
Yeah.
Okay,
But-
last
but-
year they wouldn't have counted that.
But
Okay.
that's my point. I think the inconsistency.
Well,
is
is
the
there
problem.
VAR in Carabao?
Yeah,
they're
there is,
supposed
there
to be.
is,
If it's a
there is.
Premier League stadium and they both teams have VAR at their home ground, they're supposed
Okay,
to
so
run
it's-
VAR. That's
yeah.
what I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it's saying. But if it's like
Because
one team
today
doesn't
when I was
have
watching
it,
the Newcastle game, it was like the offside thing. There's no like lines or anything.
oh, okay.
So I wasn't sure if
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly.
'Cause I know,
the
like,
rules on
different
the Carabao
tournaments have,
Cup,
like,
but the
weird-
point
Maybe it
is, it's
depends on
like-
the round too. I think it does depend on which stage of the
Possibly.
game
I think it is the
That,
round.
that
I
might
think
be
it
what
is
it
the
is, not the
round.
home stadium. that
It,
I'm
po-
talking
it might
about.
possibly be, but I either way, like it wasn't. I don't think they were going back to check anyway. Obviously, even if there was a VAR, but I think just there's a like you said, or like you said, it's like there should be a flat out rule.
I do agree
But
with the thing Tiago said though, with like it has to, I guess, affect play. Like say it was like kicked say like it wasn't towards the byline, it was more towards the other side of the 18 where he was
Like
trying to
crossing the
cross
ball.
it sort of
Yeah.
and kick it towards the goal or even like a shot.
It still affects play.
Then that would have more likely have been called a penalty, I think. But I think since it was kind of like a clearance, like just kicking it back just to put it in a dangerous area potentially, it was like that's why I was like 50-50.
I just hope it's consistent. When I watched the
Yeah.
game, I texted the group chat that we're in. I'm like, that's a penalty, clear as day. And then
Well,
they
I
went
guess
to
it
VAR.
isn't with the way that
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
looking
and then,
like. Yeah.
and then they
Clear
went
as
to
day.
VAR, and then they're like, oh, even the announcers were like, oh, I don't think this is a penalty. Like they're too close to each other, even though the arm's in a weird spot. Like it's just too close.
And
I'm like,
it's weird because like, okay, so if you leave it a judgment, there's always going to be like a side that agrees and disagrees
Yeah,
in some
exactly.
situations. And I feel like the way I was raised, the way I played, and the way I used to watch it, if it's close to your body, sometimes refs wouldn't call it because sometimes you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Like they just kick it right at your arm. But if your arm is like this, no
Doesn't
matter
matter,
matter where it's going, refs would call that
Yeah.
10 years ago.
I think if it was still like, even if it
No,
was,
even if it was
5
like
years
that,
ago. I think
like
if it's-
all the
yeah,
way
like
up,
before
this-
they're gonna
here-
before
call
this
it.
rule
Yeah.
change, and I feel like the rule has to. I wouldn't be opposed to the rule going back to the way it was
Yeah, me
because
too.
to a
Like a
point,
handball's a handball.
teams
and
just
that's
have to
it.
like eat it up. Like tough
Yeah.
shit, your hands in the air and it
put
hit
your
the
arms
ball.
behind your back, like
Yeah, like it says concrete as that. It's a handball. You can't hit it with your
Well,
hand.
I mean, I do think like a lot of the ruling behind if you're sliding and your arms on the ground and your arms like
if
holding
you're
up
dragging
behind
it,
you.
if you're dragging it behind,
No,
Just, like, keep
well,
your
you know
balance,
what's
like, to
go-
stay up.
Like if you go down like and you like you have to put your
like you're
arm
trying
down
to
to
like
break
so
your
you don't
fall,
like
to break
yeah,
your
to break
fall.
your fall,
Okay.
yeah.
and they hit it into your hand. That shouldn't be a yellow. I mean, a handball.
I will put this out there because I have this link here this was written about maybe 2 months ago, and it was saying that for this season, it was actually not even 2 months ago. It was literally 12 days ago that if you do break your fall and it hits your hand while you're trying to stop your fall, they are now not going to call that a penalty. They're not trying to call that a red, as long as it's you breaking your fall
Yeah.
and not stretching out to touch it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, I feel like that's the way it should.
That's how it should be.
But
Exactly.
I like the only reason I would say I wouldn't want to go back to the way it was is because, well, to an extent, because I don't remember the exact ruling in the Premier League or in like professional sports in general. Playing as a kid, it was always just if it hit your hand, it was a handball. Like
Yeah.
there was no question about it.
Yeah.
But like going back to that, it just like there are so many like. We're at a point now where if we go back to that, players can just hit it at your hand.
Yeah.
So now you
That-
have
they,
to defend
they could
like this,
definitely
and that changes the
intentionally
that
like,
changes
just
the sport.
blast it at you and just hope
Exactly.
it hits your hand. And
It's
then,
like so now if you're not defending with your arms behind your back all the entire time, like there's a chance that you're always just gonna get, like they're always gonna get like a foul. I mean, always gonna get a handball on you, and that just seems unfair. Obviously, there's like different ruling for it,
Well,
but
unfair. But I mean, like I'll go back to the Euros in that Marc Cucurella handball.
Mhm.
It's down by his side. It's close to his body, yes, but it's blocking a shot.
Yeah.
It's blocking a goal scoring opportunity. I don't care if he's like purposely shooting it right at his hand. It looked like a shot on target.
Yeah.
And just because it's like by his side, it was a little out.
It's not even
According
like
to the new rule, that's not a handball. I mean, like,
especially a shot on goal.
and Spain went on to win the Euros because of it. I mean, I don't
yeah,
know.
I mean,
No,
if they
I-
just like
if
if he
it's-
pulled his hand behind his back, like what they used to teach defenders to do, so you
Yeah.
avoid handballs, it's probably going on target,
mean,
and then like anything could happen or
I-
deflect off of him.
As kids, we're taught to not touch, like
Yeah.
to defend that like that.
Yeah.
As center backs, we're taught to like, yo, if someone looks like they're gonna shoot, you immediately put your hands behind your back.
I feel like especially when you're in the motion of putting your hands behind your back, like that'll be shown in the replay when they do VAR. Like they're trying to make sure they're not bigger. Like
Yeah.
they're easily doing that. So it's a tough one. Like I remember the Suchek incident when he broke his fall and Gallagher's shot on goal hit him straight in the arm. That was kind of outstretched, but it was him falling to the floor. I remember the commentators were saying this is 100% a handball. Like it's a shot on goal. Like there should be no reason that this isn't called, and they didn't call it. And this is like one of those instances. It's like, wait a minute, it's a shot on goal. It's a clear, obvious goal scoring opportunity. It was on target, and they just waved it on like nothing ever happened.
But I think like a lot of the ruling is if can he put his hand anywhere else, like in situations like the Suchek one, can you put your hand anywhere else? Like no, your hand has to go there.
He was already
when you-
on his way down. He was kind of like sliding in a way, so he
Yeah,
actually
but
didn't need to put his hand down.
I mean, I'm sure you understand. As someone who like
Yeah.
we used to slide around a lot. Your hand always
No, it
tracks
does.
behind you.
It does trail.
Because that's
No, I
just
get
the way,
it.
like you can't slide with your hand behind your back.
Yeah, like naturally, he
Naturally,
probably
yeah,
would have. That's like what
that's where your
anyone
hand goes
does. Like it's
naturally.
like you're just.
Even the same thing with the Cucurella thing. I mean, like obviously, like if he's like this and it goes out a bit, I think it's one thing. But like if you're like this and it hits you in the hand, even if it's just a shot on target, there's no like unless I'm defending like this the entire time, there's nowhere for my hands to go.
Yeah.
And this is just a flat out disadvantage if I have to do this the entire time because balance and everything like that. Like you know how hard it is to like defend like this and keep your balance the entire time.
Yeah.
And that's
I
kind
don't
of
know.
unfair to defenders too. in a way.
Yeah.
I'll go back to what I said though. Like I feel like there has to be a black and white to the rule, and even if it is fair or unfair to defenders at some points, it's like you have to bite the bullet and just be like, all right, tough shit.
Yeah, I
It
think
still hit your
literally the
hand.
only way
You know what I mean?
to make it like to confirm what a penalty is or what it isn't for handball is just saying if it hits your hand. Like there's like honestly no other way because every other type of way you put it, it's gonna be like it's gonna be a judgment call at the end of the day. Because
But
it's
I
gonna be
feel
like,
hasn't it
oh,
always
like
been like
he
that? I
naturally
think the
comes
only-
down. That's what anyone would do.
But
But
the
then
only
some
time
people
we're
could say,
seeing it now is because of VAR, because we can rewatch
Yeah,
it and they can
yeah,
change
that's
the
true.
decision on the field.
Yeah.
It always has been a judgment call. It's
Yeah.
like it always has been what the ref
Like what he
feels
sees.
is fair for the team.
It
and
does suck that way that that's the case, but
But
Yeah.
back then there was still like a way smaller amount of gray area because now a ball hits a hand in the box and you have no idea whether it's going to be called.
yeah,
or not.
everyone's waiting
Now
around
it's like
to.
yeah,
Ugh.
you literally have to take second, third, fourth looks at it. Commentators don't know. The ref doesn't even know.
well, that's because
waiting
back
Yeah.
then,
a year.
that's because back then they weren't going back and checking stuff.
And the refs
because-
can't even make their own decision. They go to the monitor because they're telling them, hey, there's a mistake on the pitch. Go look at the monitor and reverse your decision.
No, but you know the way the VAR works. VAR is like, hey, this is what did you see on the pitch, and the ref will say, I saw this. Unless it's not what actually happened, they won't send it to the monitor. So it's like, hey, like this is like,
Yeah,
unless
mo-
it's
it's-
a clear
they
and
only
obvious
really
error
go,
by the
like-
ref.
Yeah.
They're
Of
not
course,
gonna
if-
call
But I
anything.
feel like if you're the referee on the field, you should still be able to have an input on the decision. Like I made this decision, I had a clear view of it, and if I go to the monitor and I still think like honestly, I still don't think this is a penalty. I think the referee should still be.
But he can.
no, but they don't. That's what.
What do
Whenever
you mean?
they
That's
call-
exactly what they do.
There's
If they
I
go
wanna-
to the monitor and switch it, it's not because the ref didn't want to. The ref makes the final decision and always does.
yeah. To be fair though, it is like most of the time.
It's I want
It
to
is,
say
like-
I think in the Premier League, all the games I've watched,
It's
I've
almost
never
become
seen a-
guaranteed now, though. That's
exactly.
the thing.
If
It
they go
used
to
to
the
be
monitor. If
they go
like
to the
maybe
monitor,
a
it's
couple years
guaranteed.
ago
In La
when it
Liga
was
and
first
other leagues
implemented.
and Champions League, they
Yeah.
don't do it.
But that's
as
because
much.
when you're going to the
La
monitor,
Liga VAR rooms are empty.
Yeah.
There's no one in those rooms.
those don't count. Those don't count.
La Liga
No,
Madrid.
But I think the difference is that like with the refs now and when they're going to the monitor, it's because they're being shown something that they didn't see.
But
So,
how
like, but 'cause-
controversial is the monitor? Because if you get sent to it, you know more than likely the decision on the field has to be.
Yeah, even the commentators are like,
reversed.
"Oh, he's going to the monitor. It's surely going to be called
and it
this,
kinda
whatever."
just sucks 'cause
Yeah.
at that point, like it's what's the point of refereeing if he made a decision? He's looking straight
I
at
mean,
it. It happened a yard
well,
away.
the thing is-
sometimes here's
Yeah,
the
that's
thing.
why
if
it's like
it's
when-
happening a yard away, most of the time things aren't getting switched. But most of the time, the referee isn't in a position where he
Yeah,
can
that
see it
is true.
clearly.
And they
they're
say
going
like
too
the call on the
much.
field matters a lot because if there's not enough evidence to overturn it, then it is the refs on the field
Yeah.
decision.
Because
So-
at the end, it always is the ref's
It's
decision.
it's
just
supposed to be clear and
sometimes
obvious.
The ref is getting information that what he saw isn't what happened.
Yeah.
And in that case, that's when he's like, all right, cool, I have to go check. In most cases, when you're being told what you saw isn't what happened, you're probably going to switch it because you're going to
That's
see
fair.
something different. I don't know. I think VAR is, as a whole is messed, like a mess because there's that like weird middle ground where it's like, hey, like this could be a foul, this couldn't be a foul, and then you slow it down and you look at everything and you're like, ooh, that looks like really bad when it's all slowed down. But when you're playing the game and you slide, like there are certain things that you just can't avoid.
Like
And
red
they're gonna look
cards.
bad, but everyone's
yeah,
good.
red cards are rough.
No, red cards are different.
Like
Red cards-
the Joe Ellington
no,
one.
no. The fact that he doesn't have a red card for that is insane. He should be
Whoa, what
banned.
do you do?
You should get 3
No, he
matches.
didn't do
He's
anything.
trying to get back to his position.
He was in his
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. What do you mean? He clotheslined him. He clotheslined him.
See, that's the thing.
That ain't
No.
No,
looked
it
at.
didn't even get called.
And that's
Well, actually, no.
that's the
They said VAR like checked and cleared it, like within like a
What?
second. They're like,
No,
yeah,
that-
VAR.
no
VAR.
way. You see this corrupt. There's no way.
They had
all it
another
is.
game on.
Yeah.
And that also brings another point. During the Chelsea Wolves game, it was 2-1. We were actually, I think we were down 2-1 at one point, and we scored the equalizer. That's what it was. So we went down 2-1, or it was 1-1, and we scored the next goal. It was something along those lines. It was a goal kick for Chelsea, but the ball didn't stop moving. So when he went to get the ball, he threw it out to the line, and it got to the line, and it was still slowly rolling, like the most minute roll. And Sanchez kicked it deep to Nicholas Jackson. Nicholas Jackson took a touch, hit it to Palmer. Palmer first time did it over the keeper. and goal awarded, everything. The game ended, and I remember I saw on Twitter, I'm like, the ball was moving. I'm like, what are you talking about? The ball was moving. And then they show the clip of Robert Sanchez setting up the goal kick, and the ball never stopped.
Yeah.
VAR is supposed to stop it because the ball has to be stopped.
That is
before
crazy.
Bro,
I didn't know that.
I've never seen that get called.
But there's a whole
before.
bunch of stuff. If
Yo,
you-
professionals get away with so much.
It's nuts.
but not just that. Look at if you
foul
watch.
throws. Foul
Yeah,
throws.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but
rolling
because
free
they're just
kicks.
not watching
Bro,
a lot of
but
things.
the West Ham game,
Whoa, with
Paqueta?
Paqueta.
Bro, that
Bro,
ball, he
that-
touched
he
that
touched that
ball.
ball.
He,
And he-
Wharton touched that ball.
I
But
agree.
But
when
the
I saw
ref literally goes, nah.
Bro, when I saw the
bullshit.
clip,
That
I
was
was like,
bullshit.
yo, this motherfucker's trying to get a yellow card again.
Yeah.
But then you watch it and you're like, he
I'm
touched
like, yo,
that
he's
ball.
not crazy.
He's
was
not.
perfect
It's
timing, too.
It's completely fair for him to go for that ball.
Yeah.
But they don't call it. And I mean, they're like, no.
That's
give it
fucked
back.
up because he would have been through on goal.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
would have been
Like,
out. They would have been out. He
there was
played
no
a
one behind
pass.
him.
He played a pass into.
I know,
It
it
would have been
was
through. But I mean, we won the game anyway, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, I
Still,
mean,
it's foul.
yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of controversy.
I'm surprised he didn't get booked for it even then.
Yeah, me too.
I think he already had a yellow. That's why.
No, nah, he didn't have a yellow. I checked,
please,
I checked.
one of you guys just sit down for one game and watch Paqueta play. I promise you, he'll have a yellow and still be the most annoying.
Mate,
like
you couldn't pay me to watch
Like the
that
biggest
West
shit
Ham.
house on West
we're
Ham.
playing
Let-
against.
let me
We're
know-
playing City this weekend.
Oh, you're gonna have
Oh,
to.
yo, you want to go out for that game?
I can't. I'm gonna be working.
Oh, la, la.
Fuck. I was gonna say we could go to a West Ham bar and everything at breakfast.
Do you,
Okay.
do you do something on Saturday?
We play Spurs on Sunday.
Are you doing something Saturday?
I don't know.
Are you doing something Saturday?
I don't think so unless we're going to the beach.
Cause I actually do.
I'll figure out how to get off and we
I
can
kinda-
all go watch it together.
I kind of do rate that